Welcome, Las Vegas. Welcome to Chris Garcia, the conservative American. My boss is being pushed into his office right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's really funny. But yeah, thank you so much for listening today. I'm sorry, this made me laugh. The big boss, the owner here of the Las Vegas Tribune, our executive producer was just shushing him into the office so he wouldn't make any noise during my show. So it was very funny. This dude is a living legend. He's the owner of Rolando LaRosse of the Las Vegas Tribune. And my wife just pushed him in his office and made him be quiet during my show. So, yes, today what I want to talk to you about, and it's an extremely important issue, is the issue of what's going on with now outgoing National Security Advisor Mike Flynn. It is a really weird situation that is going on. But as I always say, I never in my entire life believed in conspiracy theories. I think it's ridiculous, and I think that it's a waste of time. I call myself the conservative American because I have conservative values and conservative views. And I always think that there's a bottom common sense line to everything. And I think that with this situation, I've always said I believe that different countries all around the world influence other countries in their elections. And whether it be the United States using the CIA, or the Soviet Union or Russia now using the KGB, or any other country, they have intelligent divisions of their countries. And what they do is they use these to influence elections that go on in other countries. The United States has been doing it for decades. We influence elections all over the world every single year. There are very few elections that take place in a country if it has any substance to do with the United States whatsoever, whether it be national security, financial, or any other way. The United States influences elections all over the world. And I believe Russia does the same thing. Vladimir Putin uses the KGB smartly, just like we use the CIA and other black op intelligence divisions. And they definitely use WikiLeaks. There is no doubt in my mind it's not a conspiracy. Just like the Democrats covered up the email investigation and use different factions of the government to benefit the liberal point of view, the socialist point of view behind Barack Hussein or Obama. There is no doubt in my mind, I don't care what anybody says, that Donald Trump absolutely had been in contact with the Russian administration, with Vladimir Putin, that the KGB had used WikiLeaks to release some of those Clinton emails. That was the threat that they had on Hillary Clinton. And that definitely the payback was going to be that had Trump won, he was going to end the sanctions and the embargoes against Russia. There's no doubt in my mind about that. That's not a conspiracy. That's conservative. That's the way you play ball when it comes to politics. That's not a conspiracy. The Democrats right now are trying to cook this up as if it's some conspiracy. Well, it's not a conspiracy. No more than a conspiracy when the socialist New World Order movement, they wanted open borders and everybody to come over here and not be vetted because, of course, those are your future voters. They're going to come into the country and they're going to be so grateful that you let them in the country and gave them free food stamps. Well, they're going to be your voters for the next 30 or 40 years. So that's not a conspiracy. That's called using your brains. That's called having future voters for future elections. If you let all the Mexicans in and all the Syrians in, and everybody else from all over the world, and you don't vet them, and you have open borders, well, those people are going to be more likely to vote for the Democratic Party. They know that the Americans that have been here for generations, that have seen their jobs leave and go overseas, they're not going to vote for the Democratic Party. They're going to vote for the Change Party, which this time happened to be Donald Trump. And that's exactly what happened. That's why his slogan was Make America Great Again. All those forgotten men and women whose jobs have been sent someplace else. So the Democrats knew decades ago that they had to get new voters to register and vote for the Democratic Party, and that's why they have an open borders policy. There's nothing sinister about that. There's nothing conspiratorial about that. That's just common sense. That's just good politics. And Donald Trump just used good politics. He knows that Russia has a very powerful intel department. that they're very intelligent, that they use WikiLeaks to hack into the Clinton emails, and he used it against them. He held it over their head as leverage. Now, of course, if I do a favor for you and I scratch your back, I want my back scratched. That's just the way it is. There's nothing conspiratorial about it. It's not a conspiracy theory. That's just the way politics is done, whether you agree with it or not. It's been done like that for forever. And Donald Trump, I believe, I'm a huge supporter of Donald Trump. I think he played the political system. I think he spoke to the American people. I do believe he means what he says. I think he's going to try and keep the majority of his campaign promises. But make no mistake about it, Donald Trump didn't elect himself. He had help getting elected. There were people that helped him to get elected, and there are people that he owes favors to. And I don't care if you're running for city council. I don't care if you're running for alderman, mayor, governor, senator, or whatever. There are people that helped you get elected. There are people that helped you get to the top of the mountain. And make no mistake about it, you're going to remember those people if you win. He won. So there are people that he owes favors to. If Hillary Clinton had won, there would have been people that she owed favors to. That's just the way it is. That's not a conspiracy. That's just politics. There's no doubt in my mind that part of the agreement was for those sanctions to be lifted against Russia, for those sanctions to be lifted against Vladimir Putin. He is sitting on a bundle of natural resources of which he is just waiting to sell. They are sitting on the world's second largest oil reserves and the largest natural gas reserves. And he's just looking to sell that stuff. But because of the sanctions and because of the United States military buildup, which has his country surrounded, he is definitely looking for those troops to be pushed back, and he is definitely looking for those economic sanctions to be lifted. Of course, Europe is terrified of that because we all know Vladimir Putin is an expansionist, and he's not just going to stop at the Russian borders. We all know that. We all know this chess game that's going on. He's going to look to get back Estonia and all those other countries and bring the Soviet Union back once financially he's able to do that. We all know what his dream is. But at the same time, the United States has things to take care of themselves. And whatever the cost may be, we needed a president to get in there, and it was going to put America first. We cannot continue. Russia is not our problem. Now, I'm not saying 20 or 30 years from now, Russia might not be our problem, but today our own citizens are unemployed. Our own citizens are uneducated. Our own roads are crumbling. We have to put America first right now. We have to put America back to work. And Donald Trump was the only person that was going to do that. Is that going to come at a cost? Absolutely, I believe it is. Absolutely, I believe it is. And I think one of those costs is, I believe no matter what, you can fire whoever you want. Mike Flynn, you can impeach and fire whoever you want. That's a done deal. Those sanctions will be lifted. I don't care what senator, what House of Representatives say, what they vote on. He will use the power of the presidency, trust and believe, to lift those sanctions against Vladimir Putin and Russia. Those sanctions will be overturned. They will be allowed to bring their country back together again. They will be allowed to use their financial capital they have there, which is natural resources in that country. They're not much of an exporter, but what they can export is a lot of natural energies around the world. They've been sitting on that for decades. And the United States, because of our military and because of our influence in the UN and because of our economic power, we have been allowed to block that, but block that no more. And we will also be one of the major buyers of natural gas, coal, and oil from Russia. So trust and believe that deal was already put in place if Donald Trump was to become president. I don't know if I agree or disagree. It doesn't make any difference what I think. It's not a conspiracy. It's politics. And if Hillary Clinton had won, the royal family in Saudi Arabia would have continued to control the gas prices here in the United States of America. They've been bleeding us for 40 years, and that's what they wanted to continue. We have a relationship with the royal family. 18 of the 20 hijackers on 9/11, they were not from Iraq. Why did we attack Iraq? They were from Saudi Arabia. Some of those members, the bin Ladens, were educated at Harvard and other schools here in the United States of America. They were protected and flown out of our country after 9/11. So we've been doing business with terrorists, and that's why we won't even say terrorists. That's why Obama and Clinton won't even say the word terrorist. They won't even say that because we've been dealing with terrorism for years, the United States of America. And we all know that the Saudi royal family is terrorists in their own rights because they've been raping the United States on oil prices for decades. They control the oil prices in the United States of America, and we've been doing business with that family for years. So those kings that we've been dealing with for decades and decades would have continued to pad their pockets. The United States lobbyists would have continued to get paid. We would have kept the same kind of politicians in office had the election gone the way that the Democrats wanted, and the left-wing party wanted, and that, of course, was for Hillary Rodham Clinton to become president and continue Barack Obama's socialist views and his economic programs, which was open borders, which was continuing to be energy dependent on the Middle East, and which was to continue to export our factories and our companies to Mexico, and to have a one-way trade agreement with China, in which China is just killing us, and we're trillions of dollars in debt with China. And Donald Trump is going to change that deal that we have with China. He's going to rip up parts of NAFTA, renegotiate it. Of course, he killed the TPP, World Trade Agreement, before it even had a chance to be voted on. So that's why Donald Trump was put into office, was to make America first again, make America great again, bring back companies and jobs to America, keep jobs here. They were thinking about going to Mexico, like Carrier and other companies that were thinking about going to Mexico. Ford that was thinking about building a plant which was going to employ 1,800 people in Mexico City is now staying put in Michigan. Carrier was taking 1,700 jobs to Mexico. And while they will build a plant in Mexico, they're also going to have a plant that they're going to keep open in Indiana. And he saved 700 jobs before Inauguration Day. So these are the things that Donald Trump has done already for this country. But make no mistake about it. There are people that he owes. The Democratic Party knows that. And they are connecting the dots. Why is Russia so involved in our election? Why is WikiLeaks trying so hard to expose the Clinton emails? Well, you know what? They're not dumb. Just like the Republican Party is not stupid, just like Donald Trump is not dumb, and his team that surrounds him. Well, you know what? If you think Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton are just going to let this election go, they were promised, I believe, after Barack Hussein Obama won the Democratic primary over Hillary Clinton 8 years ago, that next time was their time. She was fully expected to win this election. You saw the emails in which the entire Democratic Party was against Bernie Sanders, and it was a one-sided election. They were not going to let him get enough votes to become the Democratic nominee no matter what Bernie Sanders did. So we saw how one-sided that was. And Hillary Clinton was fully expected, if you listen to every poll leading up to that election, to not just beat Donald Trump, but to beat Donald Trump in a landslide. It was supposed to be an easy election. Hundreds of millions of dollars flowed into the Clinton campaign headquarters, into the Clinton Foundation. How many favors was she going to owe people? I mean, she raised almost $8 billion for that election. So we all know that there were kings and queens that were giving her $10 and $12 million towards that election. So we all know that she was going to owe so many people had she won that election. And make no mistake about it, though, even though Donald Trump was very much, more than half of his campaign was self-funded, he spent his own money on his campaign. All of that money wasn't his. And even if he was self-funded and he spent all of his money getting himself elected, once you get into the White House, once you get into Washington, D.C., you owe people. You have favors to repay. And one of those favors, I believe, was to Vladimir Putin, the Russian president. There's no doubt in my mind about it. You don't have to connect the dots. You don't have to tape the phone conversations between Mike Flynn and between the members of the Putin administration. Of course, those phone calls had been going on even before he was elected. Promises were made. I think that if that's the way you feel, I think the worst thing right now that Donald Trump could do is continue to lie about it. They already threw the vice president under the bus. There's no doubt about it that Mike Pence, the vice president of this country, was not privy to the conversations between the National Security Advisor and members of the Putin administration. They were deals that were being made. They were deals that were being cut between the United States of America and between Russia. And Mike Pence was not privy to those conversations. Donald Trump and Mike Pence have got to get in a room in the Oval Office, and I think there's got to be some kissing and some making up going on, because you cannot throw the vice president, your friend, the person that stood next to you during the election. You cannot throw him under the bus like this and send him on national TV and he not even know what was going on in those conversations, that he had to find out, like the rest of us, that those conversations were going on between our national security advisor and between the Putin administration and Russia. That's a shame. I am a big Donald Trump supporter. That was a mistake. We all make mistakes, but you need to clarify those mistakes. You need to learn from those mistakes and never make that mistake again, because we have too much at stake in this country, and you made too many promises to the American people, and they are holding you accountable to build that wall, to keep jobs in America, to bring factories back to America, to make America great again, to keep us safe and secure, to go after radical Islamic terrorists all over the world. You made campaign promises to the American people, and they came out in the Republican primaries. They came out in the national election and voted for you in numbers that have never happened before. You owe the American people the truth. Chris Garcia, the conservative American, is the biggest Trump supporter in this country, besides maybe Rolando and the executive producer, CN Garcia. They've been with you every step of the way. But I am a big, big fan of Donald Trump. I believe he can make America great again. But you have to understand one thing. You have a political organization in Washington, D.C. that has been there for years. They like things status quo. That's why they tried so hard to keep you from getting elected. You cannot come in as somebody with a blind eye. You cannot come into this position, being the president of the United States, being the person that was opposed by your own party. You cannot sit in that desk at the Oval Office and be blind and understand that you have sharks swimming all around you that want to destroy you. You have to be aware of what's going on. You have to be aware that every single phone call and every meeting that you have is being taped. And I understand that you have to play politics, President Trump. We all do in some way, shape, or form. There's no doubt in my mind that you have friends and favors that you have to repay. But there is a way to do everything. And you better understand that you are not in Trump Towers in New York. You are in the White House in Washington, D.C., and there are people over at that Capitol building and people that are waiting for you to fail and want nothing more than for your administration to be out of here in 4 years. And if they can get you out faster than 4 years, they will do that. The left is not going to let this go. They smell blood. They're going to go after it. They control the media. These left-wing nuts are just now, they're smelling blood right now. You got to get in control of the situation. You have to have a meeting with your vice president. You all have to come out with one joint statement. Stand by each other's side. Tell the truth to one another. Get on top of this situation before it gets out of control. Washington, D.C. I lived in Washington, D.C. is a different animal than New York City. That is a whole different world. And you can come into Washington, D.C. thinking that you're going to do A, B, and C, and before you know it, your whole political career can be destroyed that quickly, because these people have been doing this for decades. Those senators and those congressmen and those lobbyists have been doing this for decades. They've been playing these political games. Understand one thing. Vladimir Putin is in Russia. He's going to win every single election that he runs, because those aren't democratic elections. He does not care if you fail. He will talk to the next president of the United States. He has time on his side. You don't. You have 4 years, 8 years maximum. Vladimir Putin will be president of Russia for the next 30 years. So he will see you come and see you go, and he will deal with the next president. I said it a couple of shows ago. The game is chess, not checkers. And Donald Trump, you had better understand that you are dealing with seasoned politicians. And that is my only fear with Donald Trump. He is a sensational businessman. He is a great patriot. And I believe he believes in the United States of America. And he is taking a huge pay cut to do his job because he loves his country and he loves his people. But this is politics. And these people have done this their entire life. They are seasoned politicians. And you're playing their game right now. And so you had better get on top of this, and you had better not have yes men that surround you. You had better have seasoned politicians that have lived in Washington, D.C. and dealt with these people and dealt with this lobbyists. You better have more friends than enemies. With that, I'm going to wrap up my show today. I want to thank you so much for listening. I'm a huge Donald Trump supporter, but I've always told you one thing you will get on Chris Garcia, the conservative American, is the truth. I don't play politics. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I believe in what's going on, reporting on what's going on. But I believe that this is a conservative country at its base. I believe, especially once you get outside these large liberal cities and these large basins of socialists, and you get out in the country and you stop at the local truck stop, you stop at the local bar, and you talk to people out in the streets. People have conservative values in this country. People have Christian values in this country. That's what the United States was founded on. But at the same time, politics is politics. I love our president. I love our country. I am a patriot. But I am very fearful that the New World Order movement that was started over 40 years ago is so huge, and this country is so paid for, and there's so many large companies and lobbyists that are really running this country behind closed doors, that if you're going to come in and you're going to drain the swamp, you had better bring a pretty big vacuum hose, because there's a large swamp to clean out. There's a lot of water. There's a lot of sharks, and they don't want to give up their swamp. They don't want to give up what they've had for the last 40 and 50 years in Washington, D.C., and that is carte blanche to do whatever they wanted to. I pray that Donald Trump learns from this mistake. Let's call it what it is. It is a mistake. Get with your vice president, and you all come together, because you got to have one outcome that comes out of this, and that's you have one voice. You tell the American people the truth, and even though it is an unpopular decision to deal with Vladimir Putin and to end sanctions, at least you will be telling us the truth. The American people can deal with the truth. Thank you so much for watching. Google my show. Once again, it'll be up on YouTube. I want to thank my producer today, executive producer Garcia, and my sister Kayla, the assistant producer and head of my social media. Hit me up on Facebook. She is doing wonderful things on my Facebook. And once again, God bless America and God bless our country. See you.